let's talk about waypoints and route manipulation. Okay, this comes up frequently, and we really need to understand it. So let's dive in. I've got no questions pending, so let's take a look. So you can see here, I've got a trip from San Antonio to Oklahoma City. We want to move from one 105-degree area to another 105-degree area, right? But as I'm looking at this, let me turn off these Walmarts. I can see that it's going straight through Austin. Now, if you don't know any better, you might not care about that. But if you've been through Austin at all, you know that could be a traffic snarl, it could be a traffic area, and maybe we decide we want to avoid it. Now, we could insert our favorite city here. It could be Atlanta, it could be Chicago, it could be whatever city we're trying to maybe avoid or not go down through the center of, right? So in this case, I've got Austin here, and I know about this fancy new, this 130 tollway, which kind of comes up here and goes around this side, has speed limits of 85 miles an hour. I'm going to stay in the right lane if I go there, but I want to get out, particularly the heart of Austin right here. I want to get out of that, right? So I'm going to turn on my drag route. I'm going to zoom in as close as I can reasonably here to see what I've got going on. And I'm going to come over here kind of right about the middle, and I'm going to drag it over to this here. Just kind of pause. I'm holding my mouse button down. I'm going to let go. I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and it looks like I've probably accomplished what I want to accomplish. Now, I'm going to zoom in and just double check this. It looks like a clean, right on the freeway. Everything looks good. I'm going to turn off my drag route right away so that I don't accidentally start dragging this route all over the world when I'm meaning to drag my map, okay? So I look at that and see that, you know what, that was really successful. I've accomplished what I wanted to do. Now, I look at this and I say, but wait, I need to go on this segment of 35 through Georgetown for whatever reason, right? Doesn't matter what the reason is. I had folks that lived in Pflugerville at one point. I mean, that could be whatever the point is. I need to get back on 35 before before TripWizard has chosen that route for me. I need to juke that over just a little bit more. So I'm going to turn my drag route back on. I'm going to come over here. And again, I treat this little segment here, and I'm going to grab the middle and scooch it over to 35, nice and easy, let go, zoom in, make sure my route's clean, turn off drag route again, and look at my entire trip. And now if I come down and look, it appears I have gotten exactly what I wanted to accomplish with dragging a route through Austin. That's one example. Let's look at, just double checking. Let's look at another example. Let's come up to DFW. Now, if we look at this, if I decided that wasn't what I wanted, or I had dragged poorly and ended up with a janky route, I can come over here and just delete these little trash cans. You can see that whichever, let me get over there. I can just delete these little trash cans, and they will, let me turn off drag route, and they will eliminate these little waypoints that I've created. Right now I don't want to do that, so I'm not going to. But let's go up to DFW and look at it from a broader perspective. You can see that obviously TripWizard is going to pick the most efficient route through DFW onto Oklahoma City, which is staying on the Fort Worth side, right? But let's say you've decided you need to see the famed Mesquite Rodeo in East Dallas. Okay, now we can zoom in on 635 here, and we'll find, let me not get too crazy. Here it is, Rodeo Center. So right in here is the Mesquite Rodeo. Now, I've got 3 ways to manipulate my route to get here. The drag route is one that we'll look at again. I could create a custom stop, or I can stop somewhere that forces that route. So let's cover that last one first. let's say I'm not just going to drive by and take a selfie and keep moving. Let's say I'm going to stay there and actually attend the rodeo, right? Well, I'm going to turn on campgrounds and I'm going to find a campground nearby to stay at, right? And in this case, I look at this and I think, well, I've got one down here. Maybe not very good, right? It doesn't handle big rigs, so it's not going to work for me. Let's choose, this looks fine, right? This looks good. I'm going to add it to my trip. We're just going to stay one night. And I'm going to stay. We're going to take the Toad over to see the Mesquite Rodeo, and we're going to move on. Whoops, I added it to the wrong spot. Hang on. There we go. Oh, I did it again. Plantation. Let's try that again. There we go. No, I did something wrong. San Antonio, Oklahoma City. Let me delete these waypoints. Oh, I see what it did. It assigned those waypoints. There we go. That's a little catch for you. If you dragging stuff around, those waypoints get associated with whichever stop is related to those. So I deleted those to avoid a little bit of confusion here so we can finish the demo. But you can see that with Trip Wizard says, hey, if you're going to stay at that rodeo, I've got a different way to take you through DFW. And obviously, it reroutes me in the way that I wanted to go. That's kind of a no-brainer if you're staying somewhere, right? It gets harder if we're not staying. There's two different ways we can do it. And so the other way, we talked about adding a campground, or that could be a fuel stop or anything else. It could be a kid's house, or relatives or friend or whatever. Anytime I create a hard location, TripWizard has no problem routing me around that. The other way is we can come back to where we started and do a drag route. And so I can turn my drag route on. I'll grab the middle of my route, drag it over here to 635, and let go. Now, as I zoom in, what in the Sam Hill do we have here? So you can see that my casual dragging, which looked great at 50,000 feet or 30,000 feet or whatever this is, when I zoom in on it, it's got me going off and bopping into some back neighborhoods and turning around. This is when you're dragging at that high of a scale. You remember when we dragged in Austin, we were zoomed in really close on a particular section. But in order to physically see and drag my route across the entire DFW Metroplex, I've got a 60-mile window in view. You can't drag it safely with the granularity. Now, I can look at this and say, well, this is a disaster. Let me delete my trash can and try it again. The problem is, to get the granularity I need, I really need to be zoomed in about here. Well, I can't see my other road. So when I look at a change of this magnitude, dragging is not an option. It's just too hard to get the granularity you need. So that brings us to our third choice, which is zooming in on that Mesquite Rodeo. And again, let's just assume I'm going to drive in there and take a selfie in front of the sign or whatever. I don't know. I've been there once and I don't remember much of it. But let's just assume that's my goal. I'm going to come in here and create a custom stop. And now we'll look at our trip. And of course, it does properly route me around 635 the way I had planned. If I zoom in, it does take me off the freeway to the destination I had planned. Presumably, before I made that choice, we went to satellite view and we made sure that this is what we wanted to do. And of course, it is. There's the rodeo and the parking lot and the drive and all that stuff. And whether I was going there for the day or whatever, I could do what I needed to do and get back on. So I've effectively created a custom stop that manipulates my route the way I need to without dragging. And so with that, that's our three different methods. I can go to an actual location, I can drag possibly, or I can create a custom stop. Again, I could just as easily do this same thing with a fuel stop. I could come over to that area, turn on fuel. Let's see what we've got here. Let's just turn on I'll just turn on fuel in general. And I could decide to find a fuel location right around here somewhere. Sure enough, there's a fuel station right where I wanted to go, a Valero. Now, again, I would need to go to satellite view and street view and see if I could fit into this Valero station. We're going to assume I could. I can add it to my trip. And once again, we've done exactly what we said we wanted to do, manipulate our route. So whether you're using waypoints, via the drag and drop, or custom stops, or specific destinations, that's how you're going to get your route manipulated.